Well, first of all, I will I will explain to you more about this, more specifically about this, because I address the issues, but fine, I could be more explicit. Um, when I say I'm a rugged individualist, it's simply because I'm a thoroughly individualistic philosopher. You know, like Hobbes, I think that you all you can really argue is self-interest. And for rugged individualists, it's not gonna for me it's gonna have a meaning that's not just that I'm associating with other people that you think of that way or that call themselves that. I'm not thinking of uh, John Wayne, who was pretending to be rugged in movies, but more like John Muir, who really was rugged. But be that as it may, the issue here is you say, oh, we should be able to have health care, socialized health care. And I agree with that. But tell me, do you think that it is of no use to you to have socialized health care? Do you think it's a matter of your fate, and if you go to the hospital and you need it, what about not having to worry about it? What about even if you knew you were never going to go to the hospital, but having a healthier society in general to live in where people can get their medical problems treated, some of which might be contagious? You see, I don't believe we have to justify socialized medicine through altruism. In fact, I think thinking of this kind of thing as altruistic is one thing holding us back, creating friction, because you're telling people that to believe in these kinds of social systems and to do compassionate things for others, that there is nothing in it for themselves. You're implicitly saying that and asking them to do it anyway. And in fact, it feels good to help other people. In fact, it is good for your society, for your offspring, and for yourself, in my opinion, to have these kinds of social systems. So no, I don't believe that George Bush, who was raised with the silver spoon in his mouth, was allowed to flake out most of his life and then pull it together somewhat with Jesus on his side and become president. I don't consider that rugged individualism because he went and cut brush. It seems to me that you are granting a couple things. One, that it's not in your best interest. It's not actually in our best interest to do these things for ourselves. Um, and two, that he really was a practitioner of an individualism when really he was a backerism, not individualism, but having millions of help constantly over your life until it takes hold. Hardly the rugged individualistic philosophy in my book. Okay. So, why is it good for an individualist to help others ultimately? Because individual is a projected thing. We consider ourselves as a whole individual, but we're made of parts. We consider ourselves as part of groups of which we are just parts. We have an individual attitude at all of these scopes. We feel like we're Americans, or we feel like we're, Boston Celtic fans, or we feel like we are in a family. And all of these individual groups that we individuate, they all have a sense of identity. And to act in your self-interest often is to act in the interest of the network, the system that you're a part of. And it really only matters that you feel like you're a part of it, so that in terms of not feeling like you're being taken advantage of, or that you're doing something against your will, right? You're not being manipulated. You willfully will do that. And it is out of the same feelings of self-interest that you act on when it's just your individual body, your single individual body. So you really misunderstand how these things fit together. I don't think I have any choice but to be an individualist, because we all, every man is an island. We all get our own, and woman, we all get our own information, and we have to justify our actions on an individualistic basis. So the fact that you want to urge compassion, that should not lead you to accepting a lie that you think is handy for that end. Especially since if you're just honest about it and realize, oh yeah, we are all individuals, our our self-interests do overlap, and there does become a thing that is not guaranteed by logic, of an overlap of self-interest. In other words, a common shared self-interest. And It doesn't have to be there, but it is. The logic does not dictate it, but luckily it is. And so we can see things like having road systems and education and medicine are good shared things that apply to all of us because we share needs for food and water and health and a way to get from one place to another. Did that explain what you wanted to hear about?